Today, I'm going to explain a war movie called The Sacrifice. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The movie tells the story of the final stage of the Korean War in 1953. On September 15th, U.S. troops landed at Incheon and marched north to meet United Nations forces. Thousands of U.S. aircraft entered Chinese airspace toward the Yalu River, threatening China's national security as American forces advanced. In response to North Korea's request, China decided to send troops on October 25th. The People's Volunteer Army thus entered North Korea to fight American forces for the first time after China was newly founded. At that time, China was still relatively weak in military terms, as its air force was particularly underdeveloped, and the military also faced shortages of ammunition and equipment. Despite these limitations, China supported North Korea in resisting the U.S. aggression by sending a large number of troops to the Korean border. However, the film focuses specifically on the battle near Kumsong River Bridge. This would be the final battle, where victory would determine the ultimate winner against the American invasion of North Korea. First, the movie takes place from the soldiers' perspective, as Chinese troops are seen cautiously advancing toward the river while using camouflage to remain undetected. A soldier named Xiao Hu narrates that he just enlisted in the Chinese People's Army and was assigned to the regiment alongside Liu Hao in the 8th Company. Along with the main force, they marched toward Kumsong River, while constantly facing the threat of airstrikes from the U.S. Air Force. The Kumsong River became the greatest obstacle preventing the Chinese troops from reaching the front line, since the bridge they built is repeatedly bombed by the U.S. Air Force. Crossing the river directly is not possible because the water is deep and the current is strong. Along the riverbank, gunners are stationed to defend the area and protect the soldiers responsible for repairing and maintaining the bridge. Later, the soldiers of the 8th Company continue advancing cautiously. Suddenly, they stop when a whistle is blown, warning them that an enemy reconnaissance aircraft is flying overhead. Their female radio operator quickly tries to contact the engineering unit to get an update on the bridge's condition. Soon after, the sound of bombing is heard as the bridge comes under heavy attack. While Chinese troops rush to repair the damaged structure, a gunner fires at a B-26 bomber and successfully shoots one of the aircraft down. They celebrate as the plane is completely shot down, while the remaining aircraft retreat back toward their base. The officer on the radio orders them to stay where they are because the bridge collapsed after the bombings. The soldiers have no choice but to stop and wait for the next orders from the commander. Liu Hao, who is obsessed with earning a military medal, pressures the commander, Lieutenant Gao, to allow him and Xiao Hu to search for another route forward. However, the lieutenant firmly refuses, insisting on discipline and strict adherence to orders. Shortly after, Gao is approached by a soldier who informs him that the troops must reach the Kumsong River Bridge before 6 a.m. Their unit is scheduled to cross last and must help the engineering troops if the bridge is damaged again. Next, Gao orders all of his squads to gather their gear and prepare to repair the bridge, but not long after, their position is spotted by U.S. forces and comes under heavy, long-range artillery fire, causing further damage to the bridge. As a result, the radio operator is unable to receive signals from Chinese troops. The commander orders her to head to the bridge, while Liu and Xiao Hu climb to a higher position to re-establish communication. Meanwhile, Chinese troops resume repairing the bridge, but soon a whistle signals that another enemy aircraft is approaching. This time, it targets the plantation where the gunners are positioned. Fortunately, the Katyusha rockets of the Chinese army strike deep into American positions, creating a critical diversion. During this time, Gao and his troops continue assisting the engineering unit in repairing the bridge. He contacts Liu Hao and Xiao Hu, who are at the top of the hill, to help monitor for enemy reconnaissance planes. The radio operator then states that the company can cross the bridge in about 10 minutes because the wooden repairs on the bridge are almost completed. Shortly after, the bridge is eventually repaired and soldiers begin crossing. However, the scout plane soon reappears overhead. In a shocking twist, the gunners start lighting fires around their position to draw the aircraft's attention toward themselves. Upon seeing this, Liu Hao is stunned and realizes that the gunners plan to sacrifice themselves to engage the enemy aircraft, hoping to buy precious time for the soldiers to cross the bridge safely. So Liu Hao rushes towards the bridge to help with the repairs himself, but before he can reach there, several delayed action bombs explode beneath the water, destroying a large section section of the bridge. Several soldiers who were volunteering to repair are gravely injured in the blast, including Lieutenant Gao. A devastated Liu Hao tries to help him, but the lieutenant tells him to focus on the mission instead of worrying about him. Even in his final moments, he orders Liu Hao to ensure that the bridge is repaired every time it is damaged, no matter the cost. Amid the crisis, only one gunner remains alive and continues fighting bravely. He manages to hit the aircraft, but several larger bomber planes are already overhead, preparing to destroy the bridge. Liu Hao is not afraid and stands firmly as a massive explosion occurs, creating a huge blast. In the second segment, the movie shifts to the perspective of the American pilots who were flying reconnaissance and bombing the bridge. We are introduced to Pilot Hill and his partner Pilot Colin, who have just finished bombing the bridge and dropping delayed action bombs. Although the Chinese military industry is still far behind, the American pilots are surprised by the Chinese army's determination as they refuse to give up on the building and repairing of the bridge under heavy bombardment. Suddenly, while they are flying calmly in the air, one of the anti-aircraft guns opens fire and attacks Colin's plane. Colin is shot down and loses his life, while a devastated Hill is forced to fly away because his plane runs out of ammunition. Not long after, Hill returns to the area, accompanied by another pilot, Smith, and is shocked to see that the bridge is repaired again. Hill becomes furious and wants to avenge his dead friend, but Smith tries to calm him down. Exhausted from the fighting, Hill orders long-range artillery fire using M155 howitzer units to attack the main Chinese troops and destroy the bridge. In the next scene, air traffic control launches M155 artillery attacks on the bridge and the surrounding area. Smith confirms the collapse of the bridge to the superiors and prepares to return to the base. Suddenly, Hill turns back and informs Smith that he has some personal business to finish. Hill then attacks the anti-aircraft gunners blindly, firing at their positions without clear targets. However, he is also brutally shot by a Chinese soldier during the battle. Long story short, an injured Hill flies back toward the base with Smith, but on their back, Chinese Katyusha rockets strike and destroy the US frontline base. Hill becomes furious after seeing the destruction and realizes that many of his fellow soldiers are likely dead or wounded. He decides to make the Chinese forces pay, so even though he is repeatedly ordered to return immediately, he refuses the command and turns off his radio. Next, Hill sees shots being fired into the sky as if he is being challenged to a deadly aerial duel. He spots the flames illuminating the enemy gunner's position, which exposes their location. Hill now begins circling the battlefield as one of the gunners opens fire from the other side. Bullets fly relentlessly between the two sides as they engage in a fearless duel. Even after being struck by long-range fire, Hill continues fighting and manages to kill several Chinese soldiers. Next, Hill thinks he has won and reports to the anti-aircraft command that the bridge and enemy defenses have been destroyed. Soon, hidden underwater bombs are triggered and explode, severely damaging the bridge. Despite this, Chinese troops quickly return and begin repairing again. After this, the Americans send larger bomber planes to continue the attack, and they're frustrated because the bridge keeps being repaired every time it's destroyed. Hill is injured by a bullet but feels determined to keep fighting, so he attacks again and fires at the Chinese defenses. He manages to hit targets, but the large bomber has already released its bombs over the bridge. Next, we see the third segment of the film, which takes place from the perspective of the anti-aircraft gunners. They are Sergeant Zhang and Sergeant Guan, who are tasked with protecting the bridge from American aircraft attacks. While observing the Chinese troops repairing the bridge, Sergeant Guan is approached by Sergeant Zhang, who informs him about their AA guns. These heavy weapons require many soldiers to operate and are very important for defense. However, because Guan was caught smoking during battle, he was demoted from command and his troops are now led by his subordinate, Zhang. Even though Zhang now leads the unit, Guan still struggles to accept his demotion and often behaves as if he were still in command. The gunners only have 2 heavy anti-aircraft weapons, and they must hide one of them because Zhang does not want enemy reconnaissance aircraft to discover their weapon locations, because if the enemy knows their positions, it would be very dangerous and would greatly limit their defensive movement as they have limited ammunition. The first heavy weapon is held by Guan on the open corn, and the second undisclosed heavy weapon is held by Zhang in the hidden area. This morning, the engineering company repairs the bridge, and Guan orders the signal tower operator to raise the flag to allow troops to cross the bridge. At the same time, 2 bomber planes appear in the sky, and the anti-aircraft gunners quickly prepare to fire. A few moments later, the first explosion hits the bridge. One of the gunners tries to shoot the reconnaissance plane, but the target is out of range of his weapon. Sergeant Guan becomes annoyed because the gunner cannot fire effectively. easily, so he takes control of it himself. He successfully shoots down one of the reconnaissance aircraft, which turns out to be the plane of pilot Colin. This event becomes the start of his growing resentment toward the enemy air forces and the war. While Guan is firing at the second plane, Zhang refuses to reload the ammunition and keeps reminding him that there are only 28 rounds left. When Guan asks why he did not reload the ammunition, Zhang responds that he is not the company commander. So Guan scolds him, saying that although he is only a private, he is still senior to many soldiers here. An annoyed Zhang then steals Guan's tobacco powder and runs to the hidden anti-aircraft gun located in the bushes. Later, Zhang returns to the first AA gun position, but Guan asks him to return and guard that gun as well so they can fire at enemy aircraft together. However, Zhang refuses and suggests that they should switch positions instead. He further explains that the current position is compromised and it is too dangerous for Guan to stay there, but Guan argues that this location has a clear line of sight and allows him to fire without obstacles. Zhang insists that Guan should not be stubborn and should save his life for when the troop crosses the river. Guan feels touched, but still refuses to leave and asks if Zhang can give him 10 missiles, to which the latter agrees. Feeling emotional, Zhang gives Guan some corn as well and then leaves to take position at the second anti-aircraft gun. After a few moments, the guards hear the sound of approaching enemy planes again, so Zhang immediately blows his whistle and rushes to his firing position to prepare for another attack. However, instead of aircraft, the attack comes from long-range American artillery fire, targeting the main troops and the bridge. It hits several soldiers with explosive shock waves, and the second round of artillery fire strikes the bridge, causing serious damage. The gunners cannot do much because the attacks are coming from long-distance artillery units, and one of the shells nearly destroys Zhang's position. After the attack stops, the Chinese engineering troops quickly move forward to repair the bridge again. That night, Zhang notices something strange and immediately blows his whistle to alert everyone to be on guard. His instincts are correct, and soon they hear a reconnaissance plane flying overhead. The plane begins firing at Guan's position, and Guan tries to return fire, but his shots do not hit the plane, and he continues firing until his ammunition is completely exhausted. Refusing to give up, he keeps using the available weapon to fire at the aircraft, but unfortunately, he and his team are brutally shot and killed by Pilot Hill. Moments later, Zhang runs towards the location of the first AA gun, only to find that many of his comrades are already dead, including Guan. He becomes devastated, and because of this chaos, the reconnaissance plane manages to escape and fly away safely. Later, Zhang buries his former commander while other soldiers continue repairing the bridge. Suddenly, without warning, several delayed action bombs near the bridge begin exploding. Soon after, they hear the sound of an enemy plane returning, and it turns out to be none other than Pilot Hill. Zhang quickly rushes back to his position with the other soldiers and prepares his ammunition when he also notices the signal sent by Liu Hao. Without any fear, Zhang fires several bullets into the sky to lure the enemy plane and challenge it. Instead of hiding, he does something even more dangerous and orders his soldiers to light fires around their position to draw the aircraft toward them. From a distance, Liu Hao notices this and realizes that the gunners are planning to sacrifice themselves to protect the other soldiers. Soon enough, the enemy aircraft appears and begins attacking Zhang and his troops. Many of his soldiers are killed, and only a few remain alive, but they continue fighting without fear and exchange heavy gunfire with the enemy aircraft. Eventually, all his soldiers are killed, but Zhang keeps firing until his ammunition is completely exhausted. He manages to hit the plane, but the aircraft still drops its bombs before flying away, believing it has defeated the gunners. After the huge explosion, Zhang is somehow still alive, but in a very critical condition, as he has lost one of his hands and a limb. The bridge is destroyed again because of the bomb that has been activated in the water, which makes him extremely frustrated. Despite everything, Zhang still refuses to give up and tends to his wounds before looking for the ammunition. He staggers to his AA gun and burns the area around him again to show his position. For the first time, with incomplete body parts, he operates the AA gun alone. Even though it normally requires many people, he uses his right foot to turn the gun, his right hand to aim the muzzle, and a piece of wood to pull the trigger. Using his last bit of strength, Zhang fires at the enemy aircraft and ultimately manages to shoot down Pilot Hill and end his life. He then tries to blow his whistle to warn the troops, but he is too weak to do so. He watches as the bridge collapses again and loses consciousness. Next, we see the last part of the film from the perspective of the bridge after it is bombed yet again. One of the people who survived the bombing is Liu Hao, who is badly burned and has injuries to both of his eyes. We also see Zhang's body already already dead and standing in a charred state, while still holding a piece of wood. The bridge is destroyed and can no longer be used, and it seems like everything is over for the Chinese troops. In a shocking twist, though, several soldiers who turn out to be still alive appear on the bridge and begin repairing it again. Moments later, Pilot Smith is ordered to return and check the bridge for further activity. He reports that they had bombed the bridge only half an hour earlier, so he believes that there should be no movement there. However, his superiors order him to return again because they have detected movement near the bridge. Shortly after, Pilot Smith returns to the area and is stunned to see the bridge being repaired once more. He is amazed by the soldiers' determination and immediately requests his team to dispatch bomber support. Below, he witnesses a human bridge being formed and is struck by the skill and patriotism of the Chinese troops. The Chinese are lifting the wooden planks of the bridge on their shoulders, allowing the remaining soldiers to cross safely. Upon hearing about this, the American forces panic, realizing that if the Chinese manage to cross, there will be no way to stop them. In the final scene, Pilot Smith reports back to the American command about the situation. The Americans sent large numbers of bombers to destroy the bridge. Bombs fall all around the bridge, but the Chinese soldiers remain fearless. They continue supporting and repairing the bridge with their bodies and effort, even as explosions burst dangerously close to them. In the end, all the troops successfully cross the bridge and reach the front line as planned. The movie concludes with real-life footage of Chinese veterans who bravely participated in the battle, showing their resilience and dedication during the conflict.